Girl in the Coffin, a movie on Lifetime. When I first read the description, I was like, I got excited. I was like, oh, good. Finally, a newer enough concept. You know, these days, you get the same concept over and over and over again. Yes, you get the overall concept of like someone holding somebody hostage, or, you know, kidnapping somebody and holding them against their will. Like, that's not a new concept, but like keeping somebody at the funeral home is. So I was like, well, I'm not saying there's no movie like that, but it's not like, one, I can't think of one, and two, it's not like overly done. If it is, like, it might be one here and there, who knows. But so when I first saw that, I got excited about it. I'm like, they're already starting off good, so even if it's like not the best movie, I'm like, at least you get kudos for me for a newer concept, because it's like getting the same thing over and over again. It's kind of exhausting at this point. I'm like, people do the same stuff and then like think because they put a plot twist in that they think it's a plot twist, that means it's a newer movie or it's like a fresh movie, but it's really not. One of the big thing I wanted to talk about, I hate when you watch a movie, especially these days, even in back in the day, and they show a person getting sexually taken advantage of. I really dislike, we don't have to see it. You can just allude to it. My biggest gripe with people with certain things, I'm like, you can just allude to it. You don't have to see it. But even like watching Tyler Perry stuff, you would just be watching that. But that's why I have to stop watching this stuff a while ago, amongst other reasons. But you would just be watching the show and then somebody gets sexually taken advantage of. Be like, okay, you didn't even put something at the beginning letting us know this was going to be in her. You just, all at the blue, you watching it, and it happened. And it kept happening like every other episode. If probably not every episode, I was like, okay, I got to stop watching this stuff. Like, whether they be ruthless, oval, I was like, let me just stop. This ain't for me anymore. Like, he don't even care enough to put it at the beginning of his stuff to say this is what happened. And the movie, I don't think they put it at the beginning of the movie either, but I don't know if they had to, only because they showed it. It just alluded to it. Like, you see him unbuckling his belt, so you can assume. Like, I feel like in movies we need to like normalize doing that more about it, because it don't really be a point to, I don't think, show that. I don't know what the point is. Like, you don't have to show, somebody's gonna allude to it. People problem, they always feel like they have to show trauma, but yeah, you like, oh, I need to show trauma so yeah, I can see how bad it is. I think people understand how bad it is. You don't have to show everything. So I love that they did that, because I know everybody was wondering, like, dang, did he do something to her? Did he not? But he did. I don't know if she was aware of it though, because I know he gave her the drug. I don't know what the drug was, and she was kind of out of it, but I don't know if she was like aware and out of it, or was she completely out of it. I couldn't tell which one it was. And then her husband was looking for her, because he said she was so distraught honest about her mother that she was just laying in bed, not eating, and then she just told him she just wanted to deal with herself, and she sent him away or whatever. And him as a husband, I understand, but he shouldn't have left. Like, I get your person saying that, but they're not saying it in their right mind. I'll be like, okay, if you don't want to talk, but we still gonna be in the same house. If you don't want to talk, we not gonna talk. And I get everybody don't have the tools to do it. Like, you don't think to do it because the person tell you to leave, but that's your wife or your husband. Like, you just have to stay there. Like, because they not really mean what they say. They don't really want to be left alone. For real. You know what I'm saying? Who want to be left alone when they that depressed and sad, especially by that husband and wife? No, they don't want to be left alone. Now, maybe don't want to talk, whatever, but say you can be at the house and not talk. But just leaving the person, like, that's why it's like it was so easy for him to be like, oh, she unalived herself. But even then, I'm like, her stuff washed up, but you don't think her body will wash up? The only way your body wouldn't wash up is somebody weighed it down. But a person, most likely if a person jumping off a cliff or something into water, they're not going to weigh themselves down with something. Like, they're not going to jump with something on their foot. Most likely, I'm not saying it don't happen, but most likely that's not the case. So the fact that her body didn't wash up, but all her belongings did, I'm like, okay. And he had told her that before. Police actually discovered her stuff had washed up. Before that, he told her, look, everybody think you committed unalived yourself, pretty much. And he told her that because that was just a plan before it actually came to fruition. And then the husband like, no, she would never do that, never do that. And then he had told, the funeral director had told him, the husband, that she came to pick up her mother's ashes, but then he saw her mother's ashes, like not her actual ashes, but the vase. I don't know what that was. It didn't like a vase, not like a can. I don't know what that type of thing that was. It was like a jar. I don't know what that was. But it said her name. It makes some of her ashes there. But it's like she came to pick it up while she had ashes, because she would want to take him. If you go unalive yourself, you would think you'd be like, okay, I'm calling my mother. We both can go. You would throw the ash over the water or something, right? But that couldn't happen if the jar was there. He could have said, oh, I put it in another jar for her. I don't know why he didn't say that. He was just, oh, well, she just came to pick up the photo album. She didn't, I didn't call her for the ashes, although he put in his book that he came to pick the ashes up. You can tell he forgot the basis right there, because he didn't see a problem. He was like, this is the paperwork right here that my laws. But he didn't think, because they didn't tell him beforehand that, hey, we see the ashes, the base thing right there. They didn't tell him beforehand. They just said, hey, did you come pick up ashes? Oh yeah, it is right here in the law. But anybody can put anything in the law. It's just on paper. You can be like, she came here this day, or it didn't come here this day. It's like, whatever. Then, like I said, I don't know why he didn't get rid of it, because even if they look, he still had kept the mother's body, so he never even, there was no ashes to give her even at that point. So it's like, then when he was like, do you want to come do this with me? I would be like, no. Like, why would you? I'm coming there with people, all them dead people. I'm like, no, I don't. Then I would have went back, because I know it smelled. As soon as I went on her own, I'm going back. But then she tried to leave, then he knocked her out or whatever. And then she woke up in the casket. Then I don't know why he had the camera in the casket. I don't know. Then too, I don't know why he was closing the casket. Because how long can she be in there not being able to breathe? Oh, then too, at the end, I don't know if they was references in another movie or what they was representing, but it was, he kept a newspaper of a girl being buried alive in her casket. I don't know if they were saying he did it, which I'm assuming they were saying that he did it, or they were saying maybe he seen it and want to recreate it somehow. Well, not recreate, because he wanted to keep her alive. And then a time where she got escaped, and then she had the scalpel, I guess that's what it's called, and he was like, oh, hey, you gonna make it a door, you gonna stab me? And she just dropped it and went back down her, like she didn't have no fight. But then towards the end, she had a fight. I mean, she didn't kill him, but she knocked him out with the thing. I don't know why he did that. He let her do all the stuff, but they saying like, he always wanted to be in the casket and get bathed. He had, why did they have his pants off? I didn't understand that. Well, at least they should have had him in drawers. I don't know why he's in pants. That just made it look weird. I don't know why that was, but then she got him to go in the casket, and then she had saw the syringe that was in a drawer with a newspaper article about the girl in the coffin, buried him in the coffin. So then she stabbed him, whatever. Then too, soon as the cop and the husband came to look for her, and they heard a noise, but they didn't go check. That was your perfect opportunity. And get over the cop. That's your perfect opportunity to check. I'd be like, okay, I gotta go to the bathroom, then I would have went somewhere else. Like, what the heck? That was your perfect opportunity. You heard something. That was your perfect opportunity to, do something. And then, as soon as they left, he didn't go back down there to check on her, because he know she made a noise. He didn't even go check it. He went to go clean some other stuff. Then that's when she had got loose or whatever, because with the scalpel, and cut herself loose or whatever. And then she just dropped it and went back. He was like, so you couldn't kill me? That mean you care about me? Or she's maybe just not a killer, but I'm like, girl, it's your life and he is. Like, you gotta do what you gotta do. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Even if you attempt, even if she didn't even attempt to try to run to the door, at least. Like, even if you didn't want to try to stab him or cut him or whatever, at least run to the door. But she just was like, whatever. Then I'm surprised the husband, if he thought she was there alone, it was like almost 2 weeks by the time. It was like towards the end, it was almost 2 weeks. The fact that he even waited that long. And then this is a cop was like, he was like, they asked the female cop, what would you do? It's good that she was helping him, but he was like, what would you do? She was like, I definitely would not break in, and I definitely wouldn't park my car away from in front of the pew door. Oh no, if I did, he broke in. But I'm like, he knew the dude clearly stayed there. I was always there, because he came at night one time, the dude was still there. So he knew the dude was there, but when he broke in, he was screaming her name and stuff. I'm like, the dude is there, so why is you alerting him that you're there? Even though he had cameras, but obviously I'm guessing he wasn't aware that there were cameras, because if they did, you would have think the cop would have said, okay, can we see your cameras? So maybe the cameras were here hidden in a place, like I said, you couldn't see them. And even like the camera being in the casket, because he was watching when she was sleeping on top of the casket while she was asleep. But I'm like, so then he pretty much beat the husband up, like to the point of, I'm guessing he thought he was alive, but he wasn't. He beat him up when he broke in there, because he obviously saw him, and she saw him too. So when he came back in, because at this point, she saw her husband on the thing, because his back was faced the camera, but she saw her husband came in, and then he left out. I don't think he tied her up or put nothing on her mouth or nothing. I don't think so, from my memory, because this was some days ago. I don't think he did that. So she didn't scream or nothing. She didn't. Maybe he had to have locked the door at the very least, because you would think she would have ran out. So he had to at least lock the door. But I don't even think he tied her up or nothing. So it's like she didn't even attempt to scream or nothing. Or even when he came back, like, I'm like, where? Because he turned the TV off when he left, and I'm like, where do you think your husband went? Like, if he came back and your husband not back, she didn't seem concerned enough for me. But she wasn't doing enough for me. Like, girl, credit your husband broke in her. He ain't the one that came down there. So obviously he lost the battle. So what the heck? Like, she wasn't being concerned. Like I said, she saw it. Maybe different. She didn't see him. She didn't know what's going on, but she saw him on the camera. So that was weird to me. You know, she said throughout the movie, some part that her mother wanted to be, you know, planted as a tree. So you see her and then her husband, you know, and then it was like 6 months later, then the tree or plant or whatever it's supposed to be was growing. I guess it, you know, it was her mother. And, yeah, he was having some sad story. I don't know what happened to his parents. I don't think they said. He was sad telling his story about, you know, what happened, and he the dead people was his friends, and he pretty much was. I don't know if he did to her mother. She asked, but I'm sure he was sleeping with the people, the women, the dead bodies or whatever. I don't know if he did to her mother. He said he didn't, but I mean, well, he tell the truth. But he always said he wanted her. So I mean, for the moment he saw her, then why would they leave a whole photo out? Like you can't just give a picture or two. You need a whole photo out. That's probably where he became obsessed then. Look at all the pictures and stuff. But then too, I forgot about that. So the mother had cancer. She had died of cancer, but they were showing like the daughter cutting her hair off. I don't know why she left her mother to her mother and your dad last day of cancer. Why'd you leave? And that's why she felt so bad at the beginning. She's like, I couldn't have left her. I shouldn't have left her. But I was thinking she didn't know, but because I feel like they made it seem like she didn't know, and maybe I just assumed. I don't know. But then later on, you see, she was with her during the cancer time at the beginning stage of cancer. So, she was like, I shouldn't have left her. Didn't understand why she was so distraught for leaving her. But the mother said leave her, but still, it's like I said, it was like a parallel. She said the same thing to the husband. The husband shouldn't even look happy. So it was like, whatever. So they were cutting the mother's hair. I'm like, I don't know if it was white creators behind this or whatever, but I'm like, certain details. Like, one, it was clearly a wig, right? But also, it's like, if you're going to do a wig that you want to cut, you need to do a different type of wig, a different texture wig. Her cutting hair wasn't realistic. You know, like usually, if it's like a different ways remedy, you do a wig and cut the hair, because job she don't want to cut their actual hair. People ain't really cutting people actual hair, and you cut it. So I get why you have to put a wig on, because you don't want to cut the actual people hair, but you want it for the show. But they should have did a different texture hair, because it just didn't feel realistic. Just the texture of it wasn't. It just wasn't right. And like I said, it looked like a wig. So they should just did something different. Maybe more kinkier. Maybe like an afro would have been cool. But I know it would probably be harder to cut an afro. Or they could have just showed hair on the floor. See, that's what I'm saying. You don't always have to show everything. People think you got to show everything. They just would have showed hair on the floor. And then went up back to her being a bald head. Like, they could have cut an afro, looked in on the floor, just showed the hair on the floor, her sweeping it up or something, and then over to her mother. And you have to actually show her cutting it.